Who do you know who wants to make apricot jam? I know I do, and I need to have it on my shelves because I use apricot jam, just not on my toast, but I also use it in a lot of dishes that I cook with. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Now, we're going to be using our Ball Fresh Tech electric hot water bath canner. So go ahead, turn yours on, and get the water boiling in that. And also, we're going to be using our new little toy that I unboxed in an earlier video, our al dente gourmet stirrer. So I already have that here. We have 4 cups of sugar, 16 ounces of dried apricots, and we have 46 ounces of apricot nectar, but we're only going to be needing 11.5 ounces of that for the jam. Then also on top of all that, we're going to be needing a 1/2 cup of water, 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and I'm going to make this without pectin. Now, Sutton's Days has done it, and Wilhelm's Kitchen have done it, and I believe theirs was on strawberry jam. So be sure to go over and check out their channels and see how they done their strawberry jams, I believe it was. And I hope I got it right, because they made their jams as well without any fruit pectin. So let's go ahead and let's get started. I already have our heavy saucepan here with my al dente gourmet stirrer that we're going to be using. And in the stock pot, or my Dutch oven, I should sit there and say, that I'm going to be using here, we're going to be sitting there combining the sugar, the apricots, and the apricot nectar, the water, and lemon juice. But before I add my apricots, I like to chop mine all up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop up that whole bag. Let's go ahead and chop these all up. And again, the camera is right before me, so it's a little bit harder for me to chop these up. But I'm going to go ahead and chop these all up, and we'll be back as soon as I'm all done. Okay, I have it all roughly chopped up. Let's add all the chopped up apricots. And now let's add the 4 cups of sugar. Let's add the 1/4 cup lemon juice. And don't forget the 1/2 cup of water. Well, 11.5 ounces of our apricot nectar. I'm going to shake this up first before I open it. Let's move this back. I believe there was ounces on my measuring cup here. Yes, there is. Cool. They're out 11.5 ounces. There we go. Let's go ahead and add this of the apricot nectar. We did use that whole thing, so I mean, you're going to be getting quite a bit of apricot jam if you were to use a whole thing of juice and the dried apricots. my al dente gourmet stir, and we're going to put that inside here, and we're going to take this over to the stove. I could be making this recipe also in my jam and jelly maker here, but I use that most of the time, and I've been asked, how do you do it on the stove the old-fashioned way? And I figured I'm going to sit there and show you all how to sit there and make this jam. I'll be making another one, and I will be doing it in my Fresh Tech jam and jelly maker. Alright, let's go ahead and place our gourmet stir down into the Dutch oven, and have our al dente gourmet stir already attached to my cast iron Dutch oven. And now we're going to sit there and take this over to the stove over high heat, and we're going to sit there and bring this to a rolling boil, and you're going to want to stir this constantly. So I'll meet you over at the stove with the Dutch cast iron pan here and my al dente gourmet stir. Okay, I have it over at the stove. I have it on high, and now let's go ahead, turn the al dente gourmet stir on, and like I said, you're gonna have to stir this continuously. This is why I bought this baby, for these occasions where I have to stand over to the stove and I have to nurse everything. I can be over the stove nursing it with this baby while I'm over preparing for something else. So we're gonna let this little baby do its little magic, just like my jam and jelly maker does its magic. And like I said, we're just gonna have to bring this up to a rolling boil. Okay, now because we're using no pectin, we're going to have to make sure that the jelly or the jam mixture inside the cast iron Dutch oven here reaches at least 220 degrees. So I got my little thermometer here, and we're going to stick it down, and we're going to, okay, we're at the jelly point. So I'm going to go ahead. Oops. Turn off the heat underneath it, and I'm going to take this back over to where we're going to jar this all up. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the gourmet stir. Go ahead and get one of my canning jars out of my hot water bath canner here. Let's go ahead, put the funnel on. I believe it's 1/4 inch headspace. And then we're gonna, I have my debubbler, let's go ahead, debubble. And then we're going to be wiping down the rims. Take our paper toweling and go around the rim of our jar. I already checked to make sure there was no chipping or anything on any of my jars. Go ahead, put a canning lid and a canning ring. We're going to put the canning ring on, finger tight. Okay, the 5 minutes are up after our rest period. Do not tip them as you're taking them out. It's okay if there's water on top, they'll evaporate off. And leave these undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. And then after the 12 to 24 hours, go ahead, remove your rings, and wash your jars all up and label them. put them on your canning shelves. And that's how easy it was to make apricot jam.